President Donald Trump didn't just stop at telling a female reporter to, quote, quiet Piggy when he was on Air Force One. No, right after that, he decided, just days after, he's going to go after another female journalist. That's right. Not a gaffe, not mean tweets, not locker room talk. No, it's clearly a pattern, fitting his pattern of misogyny and attacks against the free press, as well as authoritarianism, all kind of rolled into one disgusting orange package. Okay, so let's talk about what actually happened, what it tells us about Donald Trump, and why this matters. Okay, it's not just about simply name calling. Okay, no, it's much worse. Now, before I get into it, make sure that you're subscribed so you don't have to rely on corporate media, companies to tell you why this might be a problem for democracy. Okay, so Trump was on Air Force One, and reporters, they're out there, they're doing their job, right? Asking about something that's pretty important, the Epstein files. You know, that little thing involving a billionaire sex trafficker with connections to very powerful men, either it be conservative politicians or even Democratic politicians. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so this reporter asks Trump about it, and of course, here's his response.
Yeah, if there's nothing incriminating in the file, sir, why not saying
Quiet. That's what he does. That's his instinct whenever confronted with tough questions, especially from a woman. Gonna dehumanize her, reduce her to basically an animal. Hey, it's, not cool to call people animal names because you're also like being mean to the animal. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, and this is all, of course, his style, right? The MAGA base, they love it because they love dehumanizing women, okay? Now, of course, it's got blowback from a bunch of people. A lot of people talking about it on social media. And then, of course, you've got people like myself talking about this. In fact, one of the people, his niece, Mary Trump, she came out swinging, all right? She called it despicable, and that's exactly what it is, okay? This is nothing more than misogynistic abuse meant to help him dodge accountability, okay? And to make Trump look like a victim, right? To feel like a victim. But here's something that's not getting as much attention from this, and it continues this pattern, okay? Because this is days after his Piggy comment, Trump apparently goes on to attack yet another female reporter.
It's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched up. Somebody psychs you over at ABC. You're going to psych it. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter.
Jeez. I mean, the thing that struck me about that, too, was when he said it was an insubordinate question. Subordinate to who? Reporters don't work for you. They don't work for the White House. They don't work for the president. If anything, they are supposed to be hostile to the people in charge. Because that is journalism. Journalism is about holding everyone in power to account. He doesn't understand that. He thinks, no, they're supposed to work for me, and they're only supposed to say nice things about me. Whereas I can say, and if they don't follow that, obviously, then I can say the most terrible things about them. For example, Megyn Kelly, right? When he said, you have blood coming out of your wherever, okay? And by the way, Megyn Kelly, she got the memo, she got the hint, and now she's literally out there defending Jeffrey Epstein. Yes, that happened. Okay, well, there's a difference between an 8-year-old and a 15-year-old. So is it really pedophilia? Oh, my God. But there's more. Getting back to Trump. He attacks women as nasty, as dogs, as horse face or slobs. I mean, that's all things that he has said. He has mocked women reporters in real time at his rallies while his crowd boos them. Okay, this isn't random. This is Trump's tactics. Okay, and I can already see the right-wing reply guys are furiously typing on their Cheeto-stained keyboards or whatever, or if they're like Asmongold, trying to clear off their desk of dead rats and cockroaches and stuff. Oh, I need to respond to this. This is not fair. Who cares? You live there just getting triggered by mean words, you know what I'm saying? How dare you, he's just being funny. That's it. It's just a joke, you know what I'm saying? It's just a joke. You don't have a sense of humor. That's what's going on here.
Beta male. Beta.
Okay, no. Here's what's really going on, okay? This is not about just being rude. It's about showing power. And that's what Trump's doing. When an authoritarian wants to weaken the press, they don't always start with outright banning it, okay? And look, he'd run into some serious problems with, the First Amendment and all. But anyway, they start by publicly humiliating journalists, okay, turning them into punchlines, and sending a message. If you challenge me, I will make you a target. And of course, one of the other things that they also do, that they have been doing right now, is take over the media. Putting people like hacks like Barry Weiss in charge of the CBS News division? Like, are you kidding me? Okay, that's another thing that they're doing to attack journalists. But that's what this is. Getting back to Trump. Okay, when he calls one reporter a piggy and then immediately goes after another, all for asking a question about Epstein, he's putting a target on all female journalists who challenge power. And again, this is specifically targeting women. And I'm not saying that he hasn't been nasty towards, male reporters. But with women, it's definitely different. Okay, specifically targeting them. And notice who, again, gets this treatment the most often. Women who don't back down. It's a war on women, all right. And it's because the misogyny is baked in to Trump's politics. His whole strongman shtick, okay, depends on putting women in their place. So his base feels like they're defending the old hierarchy, or I should say the patriarchy. Look, if you're a woman in the press corps watching this, the message here is clear. If you ask the wrong question, he'll try to humiliate you in front of the country and put a target on your back. Okay, and of course this has a chilling effect. Not because these women are weak, not at all. No, but they know what comes next. Okay, harassment, threats, doxing, piles of abuse from his unhinged fans. Okay, it fits perfectly, by the way, within the broader authoritarian project that he and his friends are doing. Again, the same man who called the press the enemy of the people. The same movement who has been pushing Project 2025, which of course is all about consolidating power in the executive branch while crushing dissent. The same right-wing ecosystem that wants to control what you can read, watch, teach, or even say. He has trained his base to hate journalists and journalism, okay, women, and to dismiss any valid criticism as fake or woke. That's what he's doing, okay?
The wokers.
So, calling a female reporter a piggy, yeah, it might sound a little petty, but it's just one brick in the authoritarian wall. Now, just imagine, by the way, for a second, if a Democratic president, imagine President Obama doing this, all right? President Obama. Calling a Fox News reporter piggy, okay, on camera. You know what would happen? Fox News would be running a 72-hour special on the Democratic war on women. They hate women. But with Trump, it's going to be like, and I can already see these excuses. Oh, he's just joking. He doesn't really mean it. Or, hey, that's why we like him. We voted for that. He fights people. No, what he's doing is training people to accept the cruelty as normal political discourse. And when cruelty becomes normalized, actual fascism doesn't look shocking anymore, okay? It just looks like, oh, it's just tough politics, Again, this is not about hurt feelings, okay? That reporter is probably like, no, that doesn't affect me at all. Like, that doesn't hurt my feelings at all. but it can chill, reporting, chill the First Amendment. Okay? Again, this is not about feelings. Okay? It's about whether or not presidents can bully the press into submission and get away with it. Okay? Trump calling one woman a piggy and then turning around to attack another female reporter, this is not a one-off. This is who he is. And it's how he governs. He attacks the press, attacks women, attacks anyone who stands between him and unchecked power. And if you want a country where the president can actually be questioned without being called an animal or whatever slur, where women aren't punching bags for somebody's fragile ego, or where the press isn't terrified of retaliation, well, then you got to speak up, you got to speak out, you got to defend the press, you got to defend women. If this video helped you cut through the BS and see what is really happening, then smash that like button. Every single like pushes back against the right-wing propaganda machine. I can't do this work without your support. So please check out my Patreon. Link is in the description of this video. For a few bucks a month, you can help keep this channel independent from corporate BS. So hit subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's keep fighting for democracy and against fascism together.